Hi, welcome to another Revenue Hub video series. Following the success of our AI series in the summer, please do check it out if you haven't seen them yet, we decided it would be great to get our expert partners' views once more. In the spirit of this time of year, we've asked them to predict what 2026 might have in store for the hotel industry. Now, through these videos, we are not inundating you with please subscribe and please like requests. You guys know what to do. But we would be interested to hear your thoughts on the predictions. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What are your predictions? Anyway, hope you enjoy it. And thanks again to our expert partners for taking part. Let's see what their predictions are. Hey, welcome. Thanks for joining us today on our 2026 Crystal Ball Predictions video series. Really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today and to share your thoughts for next year and what you think is going to be some impact. How are things for you, first and foremost?
Well, thanks for having me here, Trevor. Thanks for the welcoming. All is pretty good. Looking ahead for 2026, and yeah, it's an ongoing planning to try to envision what 2026 will bring because of all the fast-paced changes, especially in technology happening.
It's been crazy. I think that's why we thought about maybe bringing the crystal ball into the predictions, because it literally feels as if you look sometimes and it's smoky and will it actually clear up to give us any sense of what might be coming. But let's dive straight into it. So we've asked all of our partners, we're asking them to think about kind of 3 predictions to look into. So let's kick off with your first one. What have you got for us?
Well, there's definitely going to be a continuous revolution around generative AI and large language models. That's for sure. If you remember, we've been on the Global Revenue Forum last January, and everybody knew what ChatGPT is, but less people knew other LLMs, what they do and how they do, etc. I think this has become a mainstream now and a commodity, and that everybody's using the LLMs, and so they are learning how limited or where limited the LLMs are. Where can you trust them? Where you should not trust them. But they allow you to do lots of things in an automated way or research way. So I think it will continue in the 2026, and it's going to be massive. But also, it will take really specialist approach in order to make the LLMs or agents work well. So there is a trend of building the agents that will respond to your phone calls, that will chat to your customers, that will do a lot of automated works. But I've started to say this in the last couple of weeks when I was talking to someone, that they are so good in responses that you don't know when they are not good, because they provide you with the content so realistic and reliable that you think what the LLM is saying is true, but it is not. It's just creating very nice words. So you have to know how to handle the agents and the LLMs in order to eliminate any hallucination that they may be doing, whether it's for data or whether it's talking about your hotel, your product to the customer. You need to know how to use that and how to apply that in order to be confident it doesn't hallucinate.
Because what do you think are some of the areas where we'll see the great, from a hotelier's perspective? So from our audience, we, as you say, we all became familiar with ChatGPT. We've heard generative AI. We've heard LLMs being mentioned. It's moving into more mainstream, as you touched on. What areas? Where do you think you envisage the greatest areas of impact are likely to be?
Well, I think at the moment, the biggest area with hotels but not only hotels, is the marketing side, where it's normal to use AI to position, do keywords, all that search engine optimization and marketing is much faster using the AI. It brings you a lot of cost saving, and it increases conversions by a lot. So from that perspective, this area is really already advanced. I think the hotels already start to look at new ways of search, where they not only look at Google, but they look at Google and Gemini in use. They look at the other LLM positioning. That requires specific and new marketing approach in order for your hotel to be visible when the customer queries ChatGPT, for example, to find the best hotel in your region. I think that so these are the pretty advanced already areas. Another area that will definitely explode, or already has exploded, is converting the typical chat bots into an LLM driven bots on the websites. Um, they start building relationship with the customer. That drives direct sales by a lot. That drives a lot of confidence from the customers to be used. But again, you need to train them well. So it's not just something that you can program and launch on your website. It's good that it's properly trained on your product and everything that the hotel wants to sell and message, communicate to the customers. And I think that the most difficult part is using LLMs around data. So they are very good in working with very large files, different files, interpreting the data, but they are also subject to hallucinations. So you need to be careful how to use that. I've always been mentioning, now we are able to chat to data, and that's a very fancy thing you can do. A lot of people who were not technically skilled, or they were not data analysts, now can interrogate any data file, any data set, in order to have some meaningful conclusions. But like I say, it does require some sort of advancement in terms of making sure there's some fences applied on the LLMs or agents that do not hallucinate, because you can be making business decisions based on hallucinations, and that's not good.
That's a bit risky, and I guess it all comes down again to the quality of the data as well, doesn't it?
Well, exactly, and this is always the core: the quality of the data, the amount of the data, and the ability to correlate different data sources is here the key, right? So that's always been whatever. It's always in AI. It's always the input and the output, and no matter how smart the output is, it's always driven by the input.
And
So
as we've discussed many times, that getting that
exactly,
clean data and the and getting the data consolidated and usable has been a challenge. So I guess that's one of the things that will have to be overcome in 2026
exactly,
and beyond.
exactly. By all means.
Yeah. What's your second prediction? What else do you see happening?
So I kind of mentioned it, but it's the adoption of AI agents and the LLMs. But that adoption drives also focus on direct bookings and new distribution options for hotels, where they can easily handle the data and handle the distribution and handle the pricing well. So the second one would be around pricing, the dynamics of pricing, the personalization of pricing, and the ability to distribute that to lots of other channels, which creates some sort of a secure offset to the channels that dominate on the market, where everything is streamlined through one or two channels, and then there's 50 others in the long tail. Now the way that the customers are using also LLMs, they kind of look for more personalized offers, and that allows the hotels to distribute well. I came across this term the other day, which was whycations. So it's a vacation with the why. Why are you going there? So you need to have a really good reason to go somewhere for holidays, to stay at this particular hotel and not the other one. And that why can be greatly created with the help of LLMs, because LLMs are the best in creating words. So anything that you can think about, uniqueness of a hotel, thinking about different customer segments, etc. All that can be laid out for the hotelier in a very nice way, and the LLM will be great to create that content that you put on your website and elsewhere. So from that perspective, that evolution will continue to happen, and I think direct bookings, the hotels will be increasing in share in direct bookings.
I was going to ask about that because there's been a lot has been written over the last few months, and you've got, I don't suppose, I wouldn't say people in different camps, but will the OTAs dominate because they obviously have a lot of information about hotels? So if people are asking, is that the information that's being scraped, for want of a better word, and used? Other people are saying, yes, it's a great opportunity for hotels to drive direct bookings, but that then requires hotels to put the effort in to improving the content, and we know historically that's not been a strength. How do you see this, how do you see this second prediction around the distribution, the direct booking? How do you see that playing out?
I think so it's obvious that every hotel is trying to push direct sales from the cost perspective and maybe loyalty perspective, but they cannot just not see OTAs or meta searches. They are like marketing companies, like Google search engine, that reach a much larger number of audience than the hotel with the website could do. So it's not either or. It's always a game of two. And however, I think that with now the ability to access, so I think with the LLMs, people have been able to search much faster and much more sources, and therefore it's easy for them to flip between the sources, or actually look at 10, 15 different sources, and one of them will include the website. And obviously, the website may build more security and loyalty to deal directly with you, or it will be the OTA that will build that loyalty. And the OTAs are working on that pretty heavily, on how to keep the customer once he's on the website, how to give him extra ancillary suggestions, insurances, etc., in order to keep the whole thing within the platform. Because now it's not about how many visitors on the website, but how many you can actually convert to transaction.
But I think it's why ChatGPT, I know, has been looking into their purchasing. I can't remember what it's called, but the ability to actually buy from within the solution.
Well, exactly. Yeah, well, exactly. I think there's a debate between Amazon and Perplexity now of allowing to purchase Amazon products through Perplexity, and it's always good to be part of transaction, but all the suppliers are now in real heavy competition for the transaction. But coming back to hotel direct sales, it has to be there, and it has to be as good as the OTAs, and because I think that it may give more personal approach for the hotel and the direct channel, and people are more and more inclined to use direct channels. So from that perspective, it will be on the positive for sure for 2026.
And how do you think, in terms of one of the areas always when you're looking online, and particularly around distribution, is about price integrity? Do you see this changing, becoming easier, harder? What's your view?
That's a very good question, because you're right on that. The more hotels use distribution channels, the more content they pass through, the more dynamic that content is. It becomes really important to actually monitor the integrity or parity of the content and the prices. And that happens across airlines and hotels and rental car. industries, because there's so many players now within the distribution, which everybody works with everybody sells through uh, everybody, that keeping control over the content, the availability of each room type, each rate plan, meal plan, and the price itself becomes really important. And I think it's actually heading towards the FMCG type of pricing, where you have a Mars bar, but you don't know for how much each little shop in every corner is selling up that
Got you.
that
You go
bar.
to a supermarket, it's X price. If you go to a gas station, it's this price. If you go to
Exactly.
a local corner shop, it's Y price. And then you get
Ex-
three different prices. But
exactly. But then you have the revenue manager at Mars,
yeah,
where he needs to manage that price and take into consideration all this disparities. So, and within the hotel industry, it's really the same. And as we do a lot of competitive intelligence and rate shopping, we see an enormous increase in the need for comparing lots of different sources. So hotels do pay attention to that. The airlines are incredible in that. They start, because within the airline space, they have this new distribution capabilities when they can deal with the OTAs and meta searches directly beyond GDS. So now they've become very interested in understanding how the OTAs and meta searches sell them. And the same thing is happening with hotels. Obviously, in the hotel industry, you have two or three dominant players, so it makes easy to check the content on those three players. But then, what's happening in all the others is a big question mark.
that makes a lot of sense. And on the picking up on that last point of price integrity and price parity, I know your third final prediction lends itself into that kind of commercial strategy, revenue management. What is your final prediction for us?
Well, exactly. I think the revenue management will step. We have been discussing automated pricing and
Mm-hmm.
dynamic pricing and all that, and it's kind of like slowly growing within the hotels technical and know-how capability to adapt prices to to the moment and to compare with competition. And I just think that reactive dynamic pricing is going to be more and more um, um, popular, as the technology will allow people to be in control. So I don't think a fully automated system that's using a black box AI type of approach will be credible for the small and medium size hotels. They will not be willing to dedicate whole their business, their survival, to something that they don't understand, because it's a black box. But if there is something very easy, rational to to use and to make the pricing more dynamic, they will be looking for such solutions, because the benefits are obviously obvious. If you don't sell, it's not that you don't sell this room tonight. It's within the online space. If you don't sell this room at this second, then it's gone, right? And then there's visitors all over the place looking for a destination all the time. So once you lose it, you just lose it. So that second really count. Maybe it's exaggerated second, but that minute is very important. And different times of day, there will be different customers buying. They'll be looking at different competitive sets, not just the ones that the hotel thinks it's competing with. And therefore, that decision making will be driven by the moment of that minute. So, fixing pricing once per day or once per week is kind of gives you the baseline. But if you are able to adapt more frequently, then people will be. And I think technology will help them to do that.
Yeah, dynamic pricing is certainly, it's been spoken about, but this year seems to be the year where it really arrived mainstream, and people were starting to get their head around it and get on board with it. You mentioned when you were outlining the prediction that the revenue management will be evolving further. You also spoke about the strategic business model. By that you mean how the hotel industry's business model is? That what you're implying?
Well, the whole, and yes, yes, and additionally, I can see within the hotel space that there's a large trend for private hotels becoming franchisees of the global chains, and there's a mutual benefit for that, especially those chains that have that give the ability to remain original, but apply a global brand and standards on top of that originality, and so strategically making those decisions to set the scene for your hotel is going to be more and more popular, benefiting both the franchise owner and the franchisee. And what comes with that is the ability to access know-how and technology that without the franchisee, people would probably less think about. So it comes down to PMSs, it comes down to channel managers, revenue management systems. The individual hotels through franchise have exposure to those technologies, and that shapes them for the future. That brings them more faster, rather than they'd be working alone and on their own. And therefore, the revenue management tags along with that, because it's the brand that will pass on some techniques and practices to an individual hotel owner that they can then experiment with their property.
Interesting predictions. So we're starting off with the growing evolution of the generative AI and LLMs, the direct booking and distribution control, and then the evolution of revenue management and the business model. It will be fascinating to see how they evolve, and we'll have to reconnect a similar time next year to revisit those predictions. And
right, so we'll revisit the previous ones.
Yeah, and then we can tweak and adjust what we think might happen in 2027.
I'll tell you something. Let's do that in 6 months, because in 6 months I may revise the crystal ball.
Already changing so quickly.
Exactly.
No, much appreciated. Really appreciate your time and your thoughts. Thanks so much. Thank you for watching, and I hope you found the predictions discussion interesting. If you'd like to see any of our videos from our Summer AI series, here is a link to that playlist. And if you've missed any of the other prediction videos, here is a link to that playlist. And finally, can I genuinely just thank you all for watching or listening to our content. It really is appreciated, and we look forward to bringing you more in 2026. Thanks so much. Take care.